Uh, hey everyone, my project today will be about U.S. airport projects and the factors affecting the valuation, or in other words, the price of these projects. As a brief introduction for my project, overall, the of the airport infrastructure in the U.S. has scored a D plus as per the ASCE recent scorecard, and the U.S. infrastructure overall performance scored a C minus. It is clear that there is a fall behind in the general advancement in the U.S. Infrastructure in relation to airports. Even national authorities have noticed this, and they have said that they need to make repairs to due to the deteriorating conditions and the need for the repair and falling short of the airports in the U.S. It is likely that the airport projects will increase in the next couple of years just because the U.S. government is trying to basically fix up the airport infrastructure that has been deteriorating the last few years. Thus, there's a need to understand the evaluation of the project for improved airport stakeholder price predictions. The goal of this project is to understand the effect of different factors on the evaluation of airport projects. Just to give a brief preview onto the models, I'll be making two models. One will put in all the relevant factors, and the second model will include all the relevant factors minus the external ones. The external factors include data related to the GDP, the number of flights entering each area, the general construction spending in general, and it's not necessarily allocated to airports. And we will be predicting the price value or valuation of the project using linear regression. Uh, As for the data set basically contains 2,101 observations, or in other words, projects that are during the time before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID, or during this time at least. The data set includes the name of the project, the date of the project, location, valuation, variation, the action stage, which is basically whether it's during in the pre-design stage, the bidding stage, or the construction stage, and as well as the type of projects such as airline terminal, airport lighting, aircraft sales, and runway taxiway. This original data set was joined with three other data sets, including the GDP, construction spending, and the number of flights entering. It is worthy to note that the GDP was joined using the county and states. As for the others, they were only for the state because the data set only included the state spending. Just to look at the data set first, I created box plots, and after looking at the data, some of the outliers exceeded the all-time records by twofolds, the all-time records of construction work worldwide even. So even some of them went up to $2 trillion. So of course there were some outliers, and so basically I took care of them. And as you can see on the right, the airline terminal has a huge amount of outliers. And that's to be expected because in the airline terminal, you might have projects that are very, very small, just a small repair in the terminal, but you also can have an entire terminal. So that might be expensive. So one of the limitations actually of data is that it doesn't actually capture the magnitude of the work that's being done. And then that'll be a problem throughout. I'll show you throughout the project. One other thing I did was I removed the highly correlated variables. This is a scatter plot slash distribution map slash correlation matrix. There was a correlation between the construction spending as well as the flights entering. After removing the construction spending variable, the correlation matrix kind of looks better. Just to recap, the Model 1 basically contains all the variables, including the external ones. So the year, the variation, GDP, number of flights entering, stage, and work, but it does not include now the construction spending. Model 2 includes everything minus the GDP and number of flights. As for the model specifics, I looked into the log transformation. As you can see, it's around 0, and that is why I decided to go for a log transformation. And also, if we go back, some of the like valuation needed to be log transformed. I did not include the figure for the renewed figure with the log transformation, but I included that in the report. Um, as for the interaction, I tried to look if there are some interactions in between. I tried the two interactions, three-way, and not much was seen with the jackknife plot. Did the box Tidwell test to see if there is any polynomial transformation that is needed, and the test was held to be insignificant. For the model interpretation, the one on the left is the model one, the one on the right is model two. Don't want to get into every little nitty-bitty detail, but basically, one example is the runway projects are associated with 100 times 0.22% change of valuation. That's because the valuation is log transformed and the runway taxiway dummy variable isn't. In model two, the associated change is 100 times 0.23%. That means that shows that there is a difference, but it's very, very, very small. One other thing that didn't make sense in the data is that the variation had a negative estimate, and that's pretty weird because the variation 2 refers to a medium type of variation. That would mean in relation to a low type of variation is scored less, and that shouldn't be the case realistically. One other thing is the runway taxiway. The airport lighting was insignificant as for the as in model 2 too. Model 1 also received a higher adjusted R squared value. Looking at the model performance in terms of the QQ plot, the jackknife and backcasting, the QQ plot, I would say, doesn't look the greatest, even after log transforming everything. It is definitely heavy-tailed on the left side, as you can see through the backcasting plot over two. The model isn't performing the best. The jackknife plot, while it may show that it is an issue of heteroscedasticity, it is actually a problem of the level of measurement of the data. The parallel lines are a logical consequence of the fact that the independent variable has only a few possible values, and that is also an issue with the data set. I went ahead and compared both models. Overall, model one was mostly better, as you can see in the performance metrics. For the likelihood ratio tests, as you can see, the null hypothesis was rejected, and that means that the smaller model does not provide a good fit of the data in comparison to the larger model. The larger model provides a significant improvement over the smaller one. Also, after I did a 5-fold cross validation, and the mean R squared value was better, as well as the RMSE and MEAE were smaller than that of model 2. So I chose the model 1 was better. I performed the bootstrapping just to compare the findings that from the bootstrapping and that of the linear regression. Not much difference was there. As you see, 12.2, 12.2, 0.15. That is rounded, so that's why it's not the same exact value. So the same thing goes with the model 2. It was basically all these same values. In conclusion, model 1 was better. The external factors such as GDP and flights did not create that much of a difference, as seen with the parameters in comparison to both. Just a few notes on the data points. The data obviously does not capture the differences of work types, such as terminal lighting, as explained in the third slide, I think. There are some illogical patterns which were found in linear regression, such as that in the variation as well as the work type. And just like I've shown also in the jackknife plot, that there is only a few combinations of data, and there's a problem in the level of measurement. Future studies are recommended to study airport project using an improved data set, as this one has many issues. Here are my references, and thank you. Any